Hey everyone! If you're a fan of the popular anime series Demon Slayer, then you know that Season 3 has just aired, and it's been full of excitement, twists, and turns. Today I'm going to be breaking down episodes 3 and 4 and explain what happened in these two thrilling episodes. So let's dive right in. Hello again. It's great to have you back on my channel. For those who are new here, this is Andy. We're going to be talking about Demon Slayer Season 3, which recently premiered with two amazing episodes. Let's start off by discussing Episode 3 in this episode. A Kakushi named Goto is seen walking down the halls of the Butterfly Mansion. As he walks through the corridor, he reveals that 2 months have passed since the end of the battle at Yoshiwara, Tokyo, and remembers how badly the swordsmen were injured, specifically Tanjiro Kamado. He brings a plate of Castella with him, hoping the smell might help wake up Tanjiro from his 2-month coma. When he walks into the room, he discovers a shattered vase on the floor and is quietly infuriated. He announces that he has brought a dessert and asks Kanayo Tujuri to clear a space so he can set it down. Tanjiro weakly thanks Goto for the dessert as Kanayo observes him. Goto stands silently over Tanjiro's bed and loses his grip of the plate. After a moment's hesitation, he angrily bursts out at Kanayo for not saying a word about Tanjiro regaining consciousness, insubordinately berating Kanayo in a comical manner before going into the hall to alert Kyo, Sumi, Naho, and Aoi. The three young girls shed tears of joy after discovering that he had awakened, but are then immediately frightened when Aoi comes crashing into the room after having gotten caught in the laundry. After untangling herself, she begins to sob at his bedside. Tanjiro inquires on the status of his comrades, finding out that Zenitsu had awoken the day after the battle and had just left, screaming and crying before going on a job. Tenjin, the sound Hashira, left after the battle with his wives despite his terrible injuries, with his toughness scaring the Kakushi. However, when Tanjiro asks about Inosuke, he is told by Aoi that he had been horribly poisoned and that Inosuke was on the verge of death. Tanjiro responds subtly and wonders if he is hallucinating as he spots Inosuke hanging on the ceiling. Everyone in the room then looks up in horror to witness Inosuke crawling upside down on the ceiling. He loudly praises Tanpachiro for noticing him on the ceiling, to which Tanjiro comments that he is facing the ceiling. Inosuke drops down onto Tanjiro's bed, then brags that he woke a week before him and how he had poison resistance, making him resistant to medicines. The three girls protest for Inosuke to get off the bed and tell him that he is not normal as quoted by Shinobu. Kyo goes on to show Tanjiro an image of a honey badger, saying that it has a thick armor-like hide that allows it resistance to poison, which is what Inosuke is like in Shinobu's eyes. After listening to their conversation, Inosuke gloats about having an apparent immortality and is swiftly corrected by Goto that he is simply just a moron. A fight ensues between the two and Aoi rushes to break it up, yelling at Inosuke to be careful and to stop forgetting important information that he is told. As the bickering gets louder, Kanayo tries to quiet the room down until she has to yell at the others to be quiet, as Tanjiro had fallen back asleep. Inosuke immediately worries that Tanjiro has returned into a comatose state, but the others assure him that he just needs to rest. A week goes by with Tanjiro making a full recovery and Inosuke embarking on a new job. While Tanjiro works on improving his weakened state, he asks Kyo and Naho about his new sword. The girls are hesitant to inform him that Hotaru had only sent letters thus far, and they show him the angry scrawlings of hate, which clearly depict that the swordsmith would not make Tanjiro another sword. Now distraught, Kyo tries to uplift Tanjiro by saying that Hotaru is being the difficult one, and he should try to meet him at the swordsmith village to discuss in person. Tanjiro eagerly requests permission to visit the village, which Kagaya allows. He sends a Kakushi to take him, and she informs him that in order to keep the village safely hidden, Tanjiro must be carried there and will need to put on a blindfold, earplugs, and nose plugs. Throughout the journey, Tanjiro is frequently passed on to a new Kakashi, while the crows are also swapped in an effort to maintain the location's secrecy. Once Tanjiro arrives at the village, he is amazed by the sense of the hot springs. He loudly shares his gratitude towards the Kakashi for transporting him, which echoes loudly throughout the hot springs. His voice is eventually heard by the love Hashira, Mitsuri Kanroji, who is bathing in a nearby spring. Later, after arriving at the swordsmith village, Tanjiro is greeted by the village's chief, Tekchin Tekchi Kawahara, who dubs himself the best of his craft in the village, and Tanjiro bows down before him at his request. Tekchin discloses to Tanjiro that the village is currently looking for Hotaru Haganazuka after he disappeared a few days prior. Tanjiro comments on his swordsmith's cute name, which Tekchin reveals that he himself gave him that name, but Hotaru strongly dislikes it. The chief notes about how Hotaru had always had a bad temper, and when Tanjiro attempts to apologize for fueling this temper through breaking his swords, Tekchin refutes it by stressing Hotaru should be making a sword that wouldn't break. He reassures Tanjiro that they will bring Hotaru back, or, alternatively, have a different swordsmith forge his new blade. The two part with Tekchin suggesting Tanjiro relax in the hot springs. While advancing to the springs, Tanjiro runs into Mitsuri Kanroji, who had just returned from bathing. The love Hashira complains about how she was ignored when she asked for an individual's name at the spring, upset about the disrespect. Tanjiro calms her by revealing that the villagers were almost done with the dinner for their guests, which Mitsuri excitedly hurries off to. At the springs, Tanjiro is suddenly hit with a tooth and is surprised to encounter Genya Shinazugawa. He excitedly jumps in the water and tries to converse with his fellow demon slayer, but is saddened after Genya angrily strikes him and storms off. Back at the village, Tanjiro praises Mitsuri for the amount she is capable of eating, declaring that he himself would also try to eat lots and grow strong. He then brings up Genya, with Mitsuri sadly observing how the boy must be Sanemi Shinazugawa's younger brother, given that they share a last name, despite the wind Hashira telling her he didn't have one. Tanjiro asks why she felt it was pitiful, and, while playing with Nezuko, Mitsuri replies that she herself had 5 younger siblings and had good relationships with them. The two chat and both hope to someday be able to have a nice conversation with Genya, and Tanjiro decides to bring him leftovers since he didn't come to dinner. As they walk through a corridor with Nezuko, Tanjiro inquires Mitsuri on the reason why she joined the Demon Slayer Corps. Embarrassed, she states that she wanted to find a man to marry, someone who was stronger than her and could protect her. As she goes on about her thoughts, Tanjiro listens to her in disbelief. The trio are approached by a Kakashi, who informs Mitsuri that her new sword would be ready soon and that Mitsuri should check it out so that it could be adjusted if necessary. The Hashira bids farewell to Tanjiro and praises him for his hard work, expressing her approval for the siblings. After Tanjiro declares that he will be sure to defeat Muzan, Mitsuri happily hints about a secret weapon hidden in the village that could make him stronger. The next day, Tanjiro searches through the forest looking for Hotaru and ponders about the secret weapon Mitsuri told him about. In the distance, he suddenly sees 2 individuals, one of them being the Mist Hashira, Muichi Tokido. Overall, these 2 exciting episodes gave us plenty of insight into both Tanjiro's character development as well as the ongoing plotline within Demon Slayer Season 3, making them essential viewing for any fan of the series. Thanks again for watching today's video. If you liked what you saw, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome videos coming your way soon.